there's a quiet terror that comes from planning a business during economic uncertainty. It's the voice at 3 a.m. telling you that one wrong move, one bad hire, or one failed system rollout will sink everything you've built. So you stay put. You hoard your cash like a dragon. You delay your growth plans and you call it caution. But waiting for clarity in this market is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving before you start growing. It's something I call status quo trap. First, I'm going to show you the hidden cost of standing still. Then we'll dive into my 3-number growth plan to help you keep pushing forward when you feel like retreating. Hi, I'm Summer, founder of Driven Connection. We help founders and mid-market leaders build operational architecture that enables expansion without erosion, even during uncertain economic times. In a market defined by inflation, rising costs, and other instability, not growing isn't a neutral choice. It's a slow motion decline of your profitability and your organizational resilience. If your costs are rising, but your revenue is flat, you are essentially taking a pay cut in real time. I've spent more than 20 years on the ground during high-stakes transitions. I managed transformations from Fortune 500s, aligning hundreds of team members around a single vision and execution goal. I've designed new banking systems for portfolios with assets exceeding $5 billion. These are places where getting it wrong isn't an option. One of the most intense moments of my career was expediting an online banking conversion that impacted thousands of customers. We had 2 months to migrate them to a new core banking system without breaking their trust or taking access away from their money. When everything is on the line like that, you learn something very quickly. The companies that win aren't the ones with the most grit. They are the ones where the leader refuses to let loss aversion dictate their strategy. Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize winner for defined loss aversion, showed that the pain of losing is roughly twice as powerful as the joy of gaining. For a founder or a leader, that fear can be paralyzing. It's the voice in your head that says, don't touch anything, because the risk of making a mistake feels heavier than the risk of doing nothing. But doing nothing is exactly what creates a status quo trap. Think about Kodak. They invented the first digital camera, but they hoarded the technology to protect their legacy film business. They stayed put while the world moved. They didn't fall because of the economy. They fell because they were paralyzed by the fear of losing what they already had. In the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how to move forward with a plan that protects both your profit and your people. But first, we have to leave a common leadership mistake at the door: expecting your team to become superheroes just because the economy got difficult. In uncertain times, many supposed leaders default to extraction. They expect their team to buckle down and work harder to close the gap without changing the system. In his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey shares a principle called the PPC balance. The first P stands for production. That's the immediate results you're chasing, like your sales or your completed projects. PC stands for production capability. It's the systems, the equipment, and the people that produce those results. I like to think of this in terms as structural integrity. A bridge is designed to carry a specific wide load. That's the traffic moving across it. That traffic is your production. But the only reason that the bridge stays standing is the dead load, the weight of the infrastructure itself. That is your production capability. Effectiveness lies in the balance. When the market gets shaky, many leaders try to force more live load onto the bridge to close the gap. They demand more output, more speed, and more exhaustion from their team, but they do it without reinforcing the infrastructure first. Eventually, you reach a point where the structure can no longer support the weight. You don't grow, you collapse. As an operational architect, your job is to preserve that balance. You don't just ask for more traffic. You engineer the supports so the bridge can handle the expansion without erosion. If you aren't hiring more people or implementing new tools right now, your expansion has to come from an intentional reallocation of hours. I've seen this work at the highest levels. Previously, I worked with a team where 35% of their efficiency had been eaten by manual busy work. They were copying data from one system to another, repeating the same process every time a project document was revised. Nothing was synced. Everyone was relying on bookmarks and folder navigations just to find basic project information. We didn't tell them just work faster. We revised their process and used ClickUp integrations to automate the sync. We removed the need for manual upkeep of the project environment. The result? Over 5 figures in year-over-year cost savings on hardware and systems upgrades, alongside a massive boost in productivity. But the real win is what can happen next. You take those saved hours and you tell your team, I want you to spend 60 minutes or an hour on this specific growth-related mission. No increased production goals. We'll reevaluate this process in 60 to 90 days. This client saved 5 to 10 hours per week per person in the impacted roles. It increased team member happiness by removing redundant work. It streamlined information for consistency and visibility, and it created enough time to allow growth without overwhelming their team. This is how you build psychological safety. You show that your team that you, the leader, have engineered the time they need to succeed. Incremental growth can be done sustainably in an environment designed like this. This is what SMB and mid-market expansion without erosion looks like in practice. To make this feel manageable, I want you to stop looking at growth as a stretch goal and start seeing it as your safe floor. If you can, grab a notebook and write these 3 numbers down. Revenue, 10%. Profit, 3 to 5%. Productivity, 10%. Keep those 3 numbers in front of you as we walk through this next section. If you're grasping at straws during uncertain economic climates, but you understand that you need to grow to keep up in an always evolving market, use the 10-3-10 growth planning method. I spent years scaling onboarding workflows for enterprises and training thousands of team members. I've implemented Net Promoter Score programs that drove satisfaction ratings by nearly 20% in just 3 months by listening to feedback loops and optimizing the process. I've seen what healthy looks like at scale, and these numbers are a manageable baseline for growth and stability. So the 10-3-10 growth planning method is 10% revenue growth, 3 to 5% profit growth, and 10% productivity gain. Let's dive deeper. 10% revenue growth. High-performing mid-market peers are averaging 12%, while a healthy SMB baseline is closer to 3.5%. We set our floor at 10 to ensure you're outpacing the market's friction. 3 to 5% profit growth. This is the benchmark for stability. It ensures your bottom line is growing in lockstep with your expansion, rather than being eroded by overhead. And then 10% productivity gain per system upgrade. This is what I call a digital leader standard. Research shows that well-implemented systems can drive between 7 and 18% in efficiency gains. We aim for 10% as our baseline for a successful installation. Think of these as ranges, not grades. If your revenue grows 8% while you achieve a 15% productivity boost by optimizing your team's most painful workflow, that's a massive win. You are actively building an asset that is acquisition targetable and immune to interest rates. Here's a way to start navigating that uncertainty fog. Step 1. Outrun the status quo trap. Find where you're waiting for more information. Is it a brand refresh, a new communication protocol, setting up a project management office for the first time? Pick one project that solves a bottleneck that doesn't have a major capital component and commit to starting there. Step 2. Reallocate your most precious resource, time. Find the tasks that erode your team's time. Use your role as an architect to streamline the team with tools like ClickUp and explicitly reassign that time to building your internal IP. Step 3. Build a foundation for the run. When the market eventually heats back up, the companies that thrive will be the ones that spent this season building their human-centric IP. Increasing your connection to your community and your employees is your competitive moat. Use AI to handle the admin and the busy work so your humans have space to perform activities with and for other humans. Your way of working, which is the logic and the empathy your team provides, is an asset that grows in value as the rest of the world becomes more automated and anonymous. People never forget how you made them feel during crisis. Your job as a leader is to create the space for growth, not to demand heroics from an exhausted team. If this episode on planning during economic uncertainty connected with you, I have a side quest. Find one operational process that can be streamlined to free up at least 3 hours for a growth project. Write that reallocation in the comments, and once you're done, I want you to come back and share how much time you'll save this year from that one updated workflow. If you're ready to stop the freeze and start the expansion, I've put together a free strategic reallocation guide linked below. It summarizes the concepts we discussed here today and helps you identify efficiency gaps without cutting corners of your standards. You're learning, you're growing, and you're architecting a better business. Don't let the noise of the market talk you out of the asset you're building. I'm Summer Ames, and we'll see you soon on the next installment of Driven Growth.